So guys, welcome to my new Ford Focus RS edition. Yeah, I've just had this dropped off to me this week. Yeah, absolute dream come true for me to get this car. Lovely wet British day. I cannot believe that I own this car. RS edition, so you get a few little extra bits. Apologies for the wind. We'll go inside, we'll go for a point of view drive. So much to talk about this car. I'm absolutely blown away by everything, just everything about it. Yeah, it's an absolute stunner. I love it. Nitrous blue's the paint. You get the 19-inch alloy wheels. As part of the edition, you get the RS badge there. You get this sort of like black foil wrap with the RS badge, black roof, black mirrors. I think we better go inside. This car, let's go inside. Let's get straight inside. My car. This is January, by the way, so I've literally just picked this up. You'll be watching this in March because I'm gonna sort of delay this one. My car, as part of the RS edition, you also get a few little bits like carbon fiber here. So carbon fiber there, carbon fiber on the binnacle dashboard, carbon fiber here, and it actually really adds to the quality. You get the Recaro bucket seats, but you get them with this blue, which isn't the same as other sort of Recaros that you get, which I like. I've been getting used to this car. I've probably done about, I don't know, maybe sort of like 60 miles so far in the car, so not much. I love all like the blue little stitching, and it feels special. My car's sort of like a late 2018, so it was kind of like the last build of this generation Mark III Focus. You get Sony, and like I think it's like a 10 speaker system with a subwoofer in the back. Sounds amazing. It's basically every option. 6-speed manual gearbox, heated steering wheel, traction control, auto start stop, drive modes, which we'll get into when we go for the drive. The drive modes essentially are like, well, you have normal, which is what the car will always start in, which is as subtle as you kind of get. You get sport, which sort of just basically sort of changes a few little things, but not too much. It allows more like exhaust noise and all kind of little bits. The key is quite cool as well. Ford don't normally make an effort, but can you just about see the RS badge there? That's quite cool. All keyless entry and stuff. Buckets feel good. You also get a little bit, excuse my coat because it's raining, you also get a little bit better in the seats as well. Now for me, I do like a lot of cycling and a lot of like kind of outdoor stuff, so I wanted sort of like that practical. This is actually my first ever 5-door car. I'm 32 years old and I've had my license for nearly 14 years now. So yeah, I've got a 5-door. It does have adaptive suspension, which is really cool, and you can adjust that suspension in whatever mode you're in, which you can't in other Focuses. I spent a lot of time in a Mark 4.5 facelift Focus ST, which I would hope to meet up with the owner soon when the weather goes well, to compare the two back to back. Yeah, it's kind of, I'm absolutely blown away. I'm absolutely stunned. It's got I probably haven't missed some stuff. So this car is a 2.3 litre EcoBoost engine, stock about 350 horsepower. My car is a Revo stage 2 car, so Revo quote between 410 to 440, just depending. This car also has a Miltech exhaust with a sports cat. Now long-term subscribers of me from last year will know I had a ST200, right? And the reason why I sold that car within 3 months was because the suspension was fixed, and also the exhaust was a D-cat and it was too loud and it just rattled too much for me. Basically I preferred that car stock, so I sold it and moved on. This car has the normal RS suspension, so completely stock, the adjustable stuff. And the sports cat, although it's loud, it does quiet things down a little bit, and obviously it meets MOT standards and legislation, which the other car, my ST200, did not. Yeah, this is, it's brilliant. The only other thing on like the outside, which was important for me, that's different on this, was the Mountune bonnet vents. I might pop them up on screen now, actually. Yeah, I think they look nice. I think it just gives the car a bit more of a muscular look. Let's get on to this because you kind of want to see the drive anyway. This is my first like proper drive. So as you can see, when she starts up, it doesn't actually make too much of a noise, which I like, and it doesn't vibrate either, even though it's got like a Revo torque mount. This has got an AirTech intercooler, it's got hose pipes, actuators, absolutely everything, and it looks quite cool under the bonnet as well. I quite like having the display off. It's got a reversing camera, which is quite handy when it's quite dark, as we are in January. But you see the rev counter there. basically on cold start it will be about 1,500 revs, whereas this is obviously sort of ticking over sort of like 700-800. Just makes it a bit more refined. And actually I like the start stop because I like being a bit more, you know, incognito. You know, I know this car's in nitrous blue, which is a brilliant paint, but yeah, that's what I like. Auto lights, I love it. I love the simplicity. I'm looking at like a very simple car to use. RS steering wheel, the RS badge, blue dials, everything off. That's how I love a car. This is basically my dream car. I can go into more detail in terms of like, I've waited 9 years for this car. 2014 it came out. Ken Block helped design it, sadly passed away at the start of this month, and that was actually the inspiration why I kind of went ahead and went with this car. He worked with Ford, there was huge documentaries of it, huge sort of like everything. I was so passionate about it, and this is likely to be the last RS. My car, being the RS edition, is one of 500 cars made, all in nitrous blue paint, all with that sort of roof and the other bits that I added. So a rare car. I did hear things about reliability before in the past about the Mark III RS, in terms of like the engine, but being as late as you can get, and the fact that it's done nearly 60,000 miles, 59,970, you kind of get the idea that it should be okay for me. It's been sort of looked after very well in multiple services each year, which I love a lot. Let's lock all the doors because I'll do that. I'm still kind of blown away that I have it. And actually for me, on days when it's like this, when it's wet, when it's cold and it's horrible, this is the day when the car is needed to make you happy. Just to let you know, I still have my Mark 7 Golf R as well. At this stage in January, I have no intention of getting rid of the car. That's in grey. I know it's four-wheel drive, I know it's similar, but this is more track focused. Although that car is firm as well, this in track mode, trust me, it goes crazy, but normally it's actually really fine. I suppose initial impressions, just to give you an idea before we get on some amazing roads here in my, I've been on this location before in the GR Yaris, my ST200, Golf R, everything. So it's a common road for me. Yeah, it's special. It's really, really special. I broke my ¡1 rule here, guys, and I did not see this car before I purchased it, but the person who sold it, Mark from Triple M, he was absolutely brilliant with me, and he was such an enthusiast. And I actually placed a deposit on this car the day after Boxing Day, because I felt that was a week where cars would be at their lowest, and that's what I went for it. And you know, I to be fair, I'm thankful for it, and I'm thankful that I had the service that I had from Triple M. They don't necessarily specialize in cars like this, but he was an enthusiast. He went fully under the car for me, showed everything, kept cleaning it. They drove it 300 miles down to me in Hertfordshire. Lee, the guy, dropped it off. I was absolutely blown away, and some memorable pictures, and it really helps me because obviously I'm working hard as well, so you know, not having the time, and to be able to just drop it off on my drive is absolutely brilliant. I'm still absolutely stunned. Some of the you know, you hear stuff online. For me, this is the perfect car. Absolutely perfect car. And I do have the perfect 2-car garage at the moment, and it's a dream. And for me, this is the last of the last. Pre-OPF as well, this is really the last of the last. Ford stopped making this version of the RS because they couldn't make emissions. I could go on and on, as I'm sure you can imagine. I have a lot to say, but as the car's running and ticking over, let's go. Oh yeah, short shifter as well, manual handbrake, and you get to feel that carbon. I just absolutely love it. One thing I do know, and I did hear about this, is the steering lock is really short. really not that great. Like the Golf can turn on itself, this can't. Nice Mercedes there. But what that does mean is you get really good handling, and actually it's not too bad. And I love the short shifter, I love the seats, I love the wheel, I love the simplicity about this car. It's super special. 4-wheel drive, a bit more rear biased. This also has like drift mode, which I have no intention of using. The two modes that I have really been using is normal and sport, and I think it's part of the Revo map that you can see why I was talking earlier before, because she gets loud if you want to push on. Yeah, as part of the map, it makes a lot of noise. just put it that way. We've got a puddle. Now this is one thing with this car, and I've read the booklet, which is so specific about like the RS. It's really, really good. I'm just going to take this super slow because I'm going to take this super slow. This is my chance. Yeah, so can you hear the noise? Because underneath it's completely flat, you've got to be careful on larger puddles. Now Lee drove this down in a treacherous conditions down on the M1, so I know it's fine, but just be careful. You don't want to affect anything. This is it's designed for track. I love all the history about it. That book, which is specific for the RS, I loved how all the enthusiasts were just talking about it and how they developed it and the history of Ford. This is peak Ford for me, and I'm so unbelievably grateful that I've had this opportunity to own this car and hopefully keep it for absolutely as long as I can, because right now there is not a single car I've driven and not a single car that I'm interested in the future other than the two that I have. So they are hopefully for life, and I'll do my best to kind of do that. Now we're going to keep it in normal mode. It feels about 400 horsepower, I would say. I'm not so sure it gets to 440. It's about 1,530 kilos, so just to put that into perspective, it's probably about 60 or 70 kilos heavier than my Mark 7 Golf R. But because of the power it makes up for it, it's actually quite a wide car, and I didn't expect that, and I think that's just from the tracking. Brakes are great, the Brembos are really good. I love the blue calipers. I love the noise, and yeah, as you can see, she stops. And the thing is, I don't actually feel like you have to go fast to enjoy it. You can downshift it a little bit, and she likes it. One thing I forgot to mention as well to you guys, as I pull her in third, is that as part of this edition, it came with a mechanical Quaife limited slip differential. By default, these cars use torque vectoring, which I believe this will kind of still use, but a mechanical diff makes a huge difference. I found it in my ST200, it makes the front end even more great. And the fact that this has four-wheel drive just makes it unbeatable. Because to be honest with you, my Golf R has an open diff, and you do feel the front end being a bit wallowy, but it gets away with it because it has the four-wheel drive Haldex. This is a track weapon if you wanted it to be. I'll be honest, I'm not massively sure I will take this car on track, but it's good to know that it can do it. As I've said, we're still in the normal mode. We will do one lap and then I will stick her in sport mode. I just love Fords. Everything about it is for me. I've only ever owned Fords except my Golf R. My dad as well, he had a lot of Fords as we were kind of growing up. And it's just, for me, it's the people's car, and you know, it's a Focus at the end of the day. If things go wrong, parts aren't too bad. I love the community. It's a great way to start the year, the start 2023. And I mean, flipping heck, it's quick. Really quick and really like loud and engaging. And such an intelligent car. And I didn't give it credit for that. You know, you don't give it credit for that. It manages temperatures, it manages oil, it manages everything. It won't give you modes if it's too cold. Yeah, it knows, it's a clever car. We'll go slow over this puddle because you can just hear it hitting the underside. For reference, I'm not full throttle, I'm probably going about 60%, just so you know. I like third gear. I love the gearing on this car. My Golf R's gearing is actually probably too short. You have to get through the gears really, really quickly. And as a result, it means when you're cruising at 6 on the motorway, it's actually not that great. Whereas this cruise is about 300 or 400 revs less in 6. Economy wise, it's actually not that much different than the Golf R. I can't believe that. Get about 30 mpg to be fair when you're giving it some, well, because of the power. This has a slightly smaller tank. It's 52 or 53 litres, whereas my Golf R is 55 litres, so range is less, and obviously this has 140 more horsepower. than my Golf R. Now I'm going to stick it by pressing the drive mode button down here, stick it into sport, and you just wait a little bit, and that will basically just sort itself out. It will change the traction bits and it will do its thing. And you can see how it just, and you hear the pops at the back, it sounds unfreaking believable. This keeps the suspension in its softest setting. Now I can manually change that to the firmest track setting, which is also available on track. I'll be honest with you, I'm simply not going to do it because it is purely for track. If you go on track, it's great. On the road, on these roads, just don't even bother. Normal and sport is the way to go unless you're on track. Drift mode, I just wouldn't see the point, but it gives the ethos of the car being that sort of more rear biased. Yeah, the Miltech sounds fantastic, and I'm so glad it has that sports cat because it makes it loud, but it shuts up when you want it to shut up. I love blue, I love the nitrous blue, I love this car. I genuinely could cry. It's been an absolute dream, an absolute, everything's flowed together for this moment to happen. I really did want to buy this car back in 2014 when I heard about them, and I also wanted to, I test drove one for about 10 minutes. That's the only ever time I've driven a Mark 3 RS, and I loved it. But Ford wanted £10,000 over RRP or MSRP if you're from the US, and I was not prepared to pay £38,000 for a Ford Focus, and that was a Ford Focus with miles on it, I should add. And that stopped me, and forever they've been over list, and I've never been able to get in one, and this was the time to do it. I just love it. And you don't, I have not wanted to go over the speed limit. Do you know that? I've genuinely loved it in the speed limit. But it's just, I mean, let me try and show you it into the front end. Slippery roads. This car has basically almost brand new tyres on it. It has Hankooks. You have to have specific performance tyres for this car, otherwise, like, the diff won't like it. It will flag up errors. You have to have like Michelin's or something. No loss of traction at all. Nothing is really touching this car, to be honest with you. You wouldn't, a Porsche, a rear wheel drive Porsche wouldn't know which way it's going in conditions like this on the real world. I'm absolutely stunned. The Recaro buckets are great. I've seen the paperwork, which I will do a video, as I'll stick her back into, as you can see there, here's racetrack, just to give you an idea of how much it changes, and see the suspension just goes, I mean hopefully that can show it, it's just way too stiff. You can manually turn the suspension off and have it like in normal mode, which is something the Mark 4.5 facelift Focus ST couldn't do, and me and that owner sort of said that that was a real sort of letdown. So this is like almost like an individual setting, I suppose. You've technically got another mode, so that's pretty cool. I kind of let the car cool down. I don't push this. This is a pure this is a fun car, simple as that. I got my Golf R for long distance, although this can do long distance, which is great. Oh, I'm just absolutely lost for words. And yeah, 2023, and it makes a lot of people happy as well around me, I feel like, just with the colour, and it makes me happy looking out my window on a tough day of work and I can see this shiny blue car sort of making me smile. It's really good. The shifts lights really help. It just sort of says like optimum change, whether or not that's for economy or just a little bit for power as well. I'm not quite sure why this car is a little bit in the road. The short shifter makes things really, really nice. I love how this car hasn't been ruined by the previous owner. As I mentioned with the previous paperwork, it's probably had about 10 or 15,000 pounds thrown at it with the mods and just with the servicing. I've seen the receipts. It's been looked after, and I'm not one for like, I mean, there's two holes in the bonnet basically to get those mount tune bonnet vents. in nitrous blue, so I love how it blends in. Other than that, like, I'm not a fan of mud flaps, I'm not a fan of anything, but I see what the what the owner was doing, probably the first owner, and nothing inside, everything else is stock. Everything else is stock other than that sort of Miltech exhaust in terms of aesthetics, looks. So this is that's my Focus RS. I'm still lost for words. It's going to take a while for me to take this in. I'm going to do a little bit of, hopefully, a comparison against a car that I also previously owned, a Mark III Focus ST line with a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder from a Fiesta ST. I'm going to do a little bit of a back-to-back for you guys in the next video. Yeah, previously owned by me. I was going to get it to replace my Golf R. If long-term subscribers will know, that car was actually, I think it was on Ford's press fleet or something. That's why I got it so cheap. It now belongs to a family member, so still within the group, I guess, of us. I'm purposely going slow here because of that bump, which I know your roads, basically. Fuel wise, on a full tank, it's saying about 310, 320 miles. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, I love everything about the car. I absolutely love it. The lights, the brightness, the dynamic cornering, it's my dream car. It's a dream moment for me. And yeah, if you like the RS, yeah, comment, subscribe. I'm just blown away. I absolutely love it.